What is up, guys? Fahir here from AwesomeTuts.com, and in the previous video we coded all of this here. I explained what it is. I will probably explain it one more time. We were left off with the move the cat function, which we need to code now. Before we do that, I need to promote the course. So this one right here, Unity 3D course, 3D game development, make 3D games in Unity. It is the best online course that you will find that will teach you 3D game development. The explanations are just great and awesome, and students are loving this course. I got like around 400 or 500 students in the first 2 or 3 days, so it is pretty awesome course. You should definitely join it. If you want to get higher discounts, or lower actually, not higher but lower discounts for my courses, you should definitely sign up for any one of my lists. You can download the free assets and the whole project that we are currently doing. Link is in the description below. That way you will get on my mailing list. So moving forward in Move the Cat, what we are gonna do? Well, first things first, we are gonna get the key code. So key code, I'm gonna call it key is equal to, and we are gonna get that from the key, not key code, but key array. And we're gonna get the element that's at the index 0. Now, one thing that I want to say here is, in the previous video, I talked about that arrays and array lists are similar, except array lists have more functionality. One of the functionalities that array lists have that arrays don't is that we can store any object. We can store a string, an integer, a boolean, a float, a double. All at once, we can store it in the array list. So it is a good idea here that we cast this. So here, open close parentheses and type key code. What is this here? Well, this is called casting. We put it in front of the variable, so this one right here, and this will convert this variable. So it will convert it into a key code. But in this case, we know that we added a key code because, well, this is what we are doing here. But essentially here we are doing or saying, create a variable key with a type of key code, which is the type of key code, and store or get the variable. So get the variable that's at the 0th index inside of this array and make it a key code. We are 100% sure it's a key code object, of course, because here we are storing it. So moving forward now, we got the key. So we have the key and we are going to test it out. So we're going to say if the key is equal to keycode.up arrow, what we want to do, well, first things first, we are going to call the audio manager to play the sound, which is the jump sound. Now we are going to only test it 1 or 2 times because then I'm going to comment it out because I don't want to listen that while we are testing it. I don't want to listen to the annoying cat jumping. After that, we're going to call the anim and play the animation. So we're going to play the ready animation or set the ready animation, which is, well, this one right here. It's the default animation. If I select the child game object, this ready is actually the default game object. Default animation, that is. So ready, if I play it, nothing happens. As you can see, this one right here, nothing happens. After that, we are simply going to play this run animation, which is actually the jump, as you can see. So this is our jump animation that we are going to play. So going back into the script, we're going to play first the ready animation. After that, we are going to say transform.rotation. We are going to rotate because we're going upwards. So we need to rotate the cat towards that direction. We're going to call here quaternion.Euler. And here we're going to pass, or actually I'm simply going to say 0f, comma 180 degrees and 0f on the z-axis. This is going to turn the cat around. Let me just go here into Unity, select the cat game object, and notice if I set the rotation y at 180, it is simply turning the cat back. So this is what we are doing. It is looking forward. And that is that. After we rotate the cat, we are going to say here vector3 POS, or position, is equal to new vector3. And we are going to say transform.position.x, comma, transform.position.y, comma, and we are going to say transform.position.z plus 1. Because we are going forward. Forward in 3D is, well, the z-axis. If I go back in my Unity, if I take the cat game object, notice the z-axis. If I go forward, notice I'm moving the z-axis. So the cat is going forward. If we want to move forward, positive direction, that means +1 on the z-axis. After we do that, we need to call this transform dot do jump. So do jump, and notice it says extension method from DG tweening, which is this one that we imported, DG tweening. As I said, this is gonna help us do some complicated stuff with a line of code or two. And it says summary here, tweens a transform position to the given value while also applying a jump effect along the y-axis. Returns a sequence instead of a tweener. We're not interested in that. We're interested that it will perform a jump effect. So we are gonna do that at the position using the height, using 1, and the duration is gonna be the speed. So here, as you can see, one parameter, let me just find it here. So actually here, comma 1, comma, can I do it like this? Okay, so int, or this parameter, so we have the end value where we are actually gonna jump. So this is the position or the end value. The height is the jump power. So how high do we wanna jump? How high? You know the movie How High? Yeah, Method Man and Red Man. Anyways, number of jump is gonna be 1. And the duration is gonna be the speed. So these are the parameters. This is our destination, where we are gonna land when we jump. How high we wanna jump. Number of jumps in given time. So the speed is the time. After that, we need to call the block manager to, well, leave landed block, but we are gonna code this later on in the block manager, but this is where we need to call it, and we need to call anim.set trigger, and the trigger is gonna be jump. So what is a trigger? Well, if we go back here into the animator, here he is. If we call this trigger, notice this is the trigger right here. So in the parameters, when I click on the parameters, we can add a float, integer, boolean, or a trigger. A trigger is simply, you call it like this. You simply call set trigger, the name of the trigger, which is jump as we see here, and it will, well, transition as we can see. So here we have the parameter or the condition for this transition is the trigger. So well, calling the trigger, it will go from ready animation to the run animation, and that is, well, that. Nothing else to it. So I am simply gonna copy all of these lines of code. Copy them and move forward, and we're gonna pass them or paste them below, and we're gonna do for the down arrow. So down arrow, and here, if it's the down arrow, I am gonna rotate it for, well, 0f, and here I'm simply gonna say -1, so -1 on the z-axis. Everything else is gonna be the same. Let me just put the block manager code here. As I said, everything else is gonna be the same, so I simply changed, well, here, the rotation or where the cat is facing. And here, I simply, well, set -1, because as I said, moving forward and backward in 3D is on the z-axis. If I move it, well, on the negative side, it is moving backwards. So this is 3D, ladies and gentlemen. Going back, I am gonna paste this, and now we are gonna do this for the right arrow. And moving for the right arrow, we are simply gonna rotate our game object at -90 degrees. We are not gonna add to the z-axis, but we are gonna add to the x-axis. So we're gonna say +1 on the x-axis, and everything else is the same. And I'm gonna copy the code again, and we're gonna do that for the left arrow. So here we have left arrow. Here we are gonna say +90 degrees, and here we are gonna say -1, because again, if we go to the left side, that's the negative on the x-axis, so we need to subtract 1 from the x. If we go to the right side, which is the positive on the x-axis, then we need to add 1, well, to the x-axis, and that is that. So we are good to go. We can test it out because we are calling this right here into our check input, which is being called into the update. So I think everything is okay. If I go back into my game, let's go into the game view, hit the play button. So let me just hit the play button. And now notice. Yes, I know I'm playing crazy, but anyways, it is working. Let me try this actually. Let's say if I set the jump, or this is how high the jump is gonna be. Let's say if I set the height of the jump to 1. So let's say if that is gonna, well, make it a little bit different. So if I run the game, and I run it and I stopped it, so run the game again. Yeah, I think it can do. Yes, I think it will do. What if I try even to put it at a higher number? This is just testing, don't mind me, I'm just testing and looking what is happening. So, yeah, don't mind me. Yeah, I like it better now. Actually, I did not consider this while I was creating the game. So, yeah, I'm gonna leave it at 2. Anyways, let me go back and explain the code again. So this here does not need any explaining because we did this numerous times in all of my tutorials. .tweening or .tween, we need to initialize it like this, which is this plugin like this, which is the plugin that we're going to use to, well, make our cat jump. So this is how we initialize it. Here we are checking if the cat is not dead and we have landed on a block. So cat landed block, which we are checking right here. So if we landed on a block and the cat is not dead, we will check for the input. And here are simply, well, checking if we press a certain key. So if we press the key code, well, up, down, right, or left, and based on that, we will add those keys into the key array. Next, we are checking if the key array count, meaning how many elements we have in that key array, is greater than 0. If we have at least one element, that will be, or this will be true. So we will have elements more than 0. And then we will move the cat, which is this code right here that I'm going to comment in a moment. And then we will remove that key code from the array. So inside of the move cat, which is this one right here, we are getting the key from the key array and we are testing it out. So if the key is equal to the up arrow, meaning we pressed it up to move up, then we are going to play the audio manager, which I'm going to comment out now because I don't want to listen to it. We will play the ready animation. And then we will rotate the cat. So you saw the cat was going up, down, or actually forward, backwards, left, and right. So we need to rotate it to look at that, well, direction. And this is the rotation 180 degrees to look forward. Next, we're going to move it at the position. So move it 1 unit forward. And that is on the z-axis. So z-axis plus 1. And then we're using the tween or this DG tweening. So this right here is the plugin. So we do jump, meaning we're going to do jump. And the position where we want to jump to is this one right here, which is, well, this right here that we coded. We simply added +1 on the z-axis. How high the jump is going to be, this is right here. How many jumps we want to perform, only 1. And this is the time, so how fast we want to jump. And that's that. And then we are simply, well, calling set trigger to jump. And you saw that we played the jump animation on the cat. So this is playing the jump animation on the cat. We will, of course, call this leave landed block, but we will do that in a second. Do not worry. And then we're doing the same thing for the down key. So we are, well, playing the jump sound, setting the animation to ready, rotating the cat, moving it to the position where we want to jump to, using do jump to actually jump on that position, leaving the block and setting the trigger to jump. Doing the same thing for the right. So again, I'm not going to explain. We're rotating the cat, setting the position, so on and so forth. And the same thing for the left side. And this was it for the cat movement. We will have more things to code, but next, well, I'm probably going to code the movement or the camera following the cat. Then we will code this block, leave landed block. Then we will code how we can add more of those platforms. Because notice now, if I run the game, so let the game run, let the games begin. Notice, this is what I can do. I can only jump here. The camera is not following. We are also only, well, playing on, well, these platforms that we have here. We want to, well, spawn more platforms. So let's see how we can do that, but probably not in the next video since I said we are going to code the camera. And after that, we will code that. So this function leave landed block is the one who is gonna do that for us. Fahir here from awesometuts.com. Download the free assets or the assets for this project and this complete project. Link is in the description below. See you guys in the next video.